我们刚刚前面有报道，在美国 Joe Biden 上台之后，他最重要的气候方案里头是在2030年，希望一方面挽救就业，一方面让美国的汽车全部淘汰变成电动车，但是并没有得到共和党的支持。接着，他在最近得到共和党跨党派支持的是通过了1兆方案的基础建设。很多人只看到基础建设，没有看到里头所包含的气候变迁的部分。其中很值得注意的是，未来要众议院一起表决再写成法案，但是有一个部分是很重要，就是目前多州要求电力公司的发电量要是干净能源。如果从其他国家进口的商品，他们如果仍然是使用煤炭、天然气等，它要课征进口碳污染税。对这些美国的参众议院来讲，这个是有说服力，因为这等于就是针对亚洲，特别是针对中国大陆，但台湾的进口何尝不是如此？
Overnight in the Midwest, a washout. Heavy rain and dangerously high winds wreaking havoc on the suburbs of Chicago. Further north, threatening funnel clouds seen twisting in the distance. In the Pacific Northwest, millions are now bracing for a blistering heat wave. These kinds of extreme temperatures and wildfires cited in an unsettling new report on climate change. A UN panel of scientists issuing what they call a code red for humanity.
The U.S. doesn't currently emit the most carbon dioxide of any country. But as one of the oldest industrial powers, it's emitted more carbon dioxide in total than any other country or region. So America has a big role to play in decarbonizing.
地球发出红色警报，亲身经历极端天气，助长全球暖化的美国责无旁贷。
Breaking news right now on Capitol Hill, where the Senate just passed the $1 trillion infrastructure bill this morning with strong bipartisan support.
Spending $66 billion on rail, including $30 billion on Amtrak's heavily traveled Northeast corridor. $110 billion goes to rehabbing roads and bridges.
I think this addresses two important sectors that contribute to climate change. One is our transportation sector. So the bill makes a lot of investments in electric vehicles and also public transit, which are both critical to bringing down our pollution and the biggest contributor to climate change. It also makes big investments in the electricity sector, so improving things like transmission and electrifying parts of the country that also make it critical to cleaning up the economy. In addition, this bill addresses the impacts of climate change. So we have to both bring down emissions at the same time that we prepare for the impacts we know are here and are coming.
要弥补迟缓的气候变迁应对，拜登政府力推基建计划。让步妥协下，1兆美元基建法案达成2党共识，在参院过关。其中编列730亿美元进行能源大改造，设立专职单位，更新全美电网，以符合传输干净能源电力，逐步取代化石燃料。
And moving to 100% renewable power through a massive build-out of solar, wind, and storage facilities will be extremely expensive. Given our current technologies, a full decarbonization of the power grid has been estimated to cost about $4.5 trillion over a 10 to 20-year period. But if we're going to reach 100% clean electricity by 2035, as President Biden has pledged to do, modernizing our grid so it can handle that renewable build-out is a must.
拜登还承诺，美国2030年前碳排量要低于30亿公吨。2050达零碳排，美国2019年碳排量约66亿公吨，2020年约47亿公吨。
In the United States, transportation is the single largest source of planet-warming greenhouse gas emissions.
Is that as the planet warms, there's more water vapor in the atmosphere as a whole, so that when it does rain, it's raining more intensely.
地球升温，天灾将更重建。要达减排目标，拜登政府从最大排放来源下手，总统签署行政命令，提高电动车产能，目标2030年前市占率达1半。参院通过的基建案，计划将公车和渡轮都换成零碳排或低碳排，还会在全美设置充电站。但参院通过的预算大缩水，拜登的电动车愿景恐大打折扣。
这
we've known for decades that the world is warming, but this report tells us that recent changes in the climate are widespread, rapid, and intensifying, unprecedented in thousands of years.
联合国气候报告还指出，极端天气将更频繁。法案也保障美国做好防灾准备，强化承受高温、暴雨、狂风的袭击，翻新铁公路、桥梁和水电等设施，提高预测野火、水灾的技术。
We're following some new developments on Capitol Hill, where Senate Democrats passed a $3.5 trillion budget resolution overnight. The massive spending bill addresses many of President Biden's top legislative priorities, like climate change, poverty, Medicare, family leave, immigration, and education. Democrats officially laid the foundation to pass a sweeping measure without any Republican support when the Senate reconvenes next month. This comes just hours after senators passed a bipartisan $1 trillion infrastructure bill that will tackle our nation's crippling roads, bridges, and tunnels.
The Senate approved the framework, basically a list of instructions to all of the committees that will be involved in drafting the budget bill as to what sorts of things need to be in the legislation, and it put a ceiling on how much each of those committees can spend.
妥协下的1兆美元法案，牺牲不少民主党的中心政策。为消弭党内不满，民主党随即启动表决3.5兆美元预算决议，靠1票优势在参院通过，强化气候变迁应对，使用干净能源标准，祭出赏罚制度，减少依赖化石燃料。
The long pole in the tent really is the Clean Electricity Standard, and that CES is going to require that we get 100% of our energy from clean sources by the year 2035. There's a version that we get the fact that we get 80% of our energy from clean sources by 2030. Either one of those is a very strong statement about where we are headed as a nation.
Clean energy incorporates renewable energy, but it also includes more types of energy. So that could be nuclear, it could be hydropower, it could even be something like coal, as long as there is a kind of technology employed that captures that carbon. It's called carbon capture and sequestration, which would then kind of make it zero carbon energy is another way to say it. So this clean energy standard is something that the federal government wants to implement in order to drive our greenhouse gases down. And what the standard would do is incentivize public utility companies to gradually incorporate more modes of clean or zero carbon energy into the way that they power our homes. And they would do that through monetary incentivization.
要让全世界看见美国减排的决心，拜登政府定下雄心壮志的目标。民主党还计划对从碳排没有强力规范的国家所进口的商品课征进口碳污染税。
Carbon tariffs are not inherently protectionist. However, we show that carbon tariffs do help reduce global emissions.
但1兆美元基建法案还有待众院表决，之后送交拜登签署生效。3.5兆美元预算决议路途更漫长，也尚待众院通过，之后撰写成法案，再送交两院表决。两党都已出现反对预算案的声音，在参院惊奇上演的两党携手通过法案，恐是昙花一现。对抗气候变迁，政党角力成最大阻碍。